Hey, everybody. Welcome to a podcast with me, Justin. And
Hey, I'm in everybody. Buzz, buzz, buzz. It's me, Jen.
okay, great. Yay. We're back.
Off to a great start.
We're back with our season two, episode one, Yellowjackets episode discussion and ramble. Friends, Romans, Countrymen, the season two premiere, long awaited. We're here. We're here to tell you things about it that we think about it, and you decide. Um,
That's right, just the facts here.
uh,
So we were awaiting this for a long time, very very eagerly. I love this show. It's almost as if it was written for me exactly. Like I am that person in the focus group room that they wrote this for. So
you know, I I feel the same way. Um, I wish there were 1,000 shows like this one.
I know, 1,000 disappointments lurking just around the
I would watch
corner.
them all, and
I
I would be
would.
disappointed by all of them.
I would. But
Oh,
this is a
there's
great moment in the show that, as will all shows, eventually lead to pain and sorrow. But not
Pain and
yet. Not
Sorrow,
yet.
Garmin Bosia.
Not for us, though.
That's what
Not yet.
awaits us on the other side.
But Garmin Bosia, and we will get to this. I feel that Garmin Bosia might be a salient theme for Lottie's cult. We'll see.
Oh,
We'll
do
see.
you?
Yeah, but I'm getting ahead of myself, of
Are you sure
course.
about that?
No, no, I'm
Okay.
not sure about anything. That I guess I should issue a disclaimer. Nothing that I say is should be taken as certainty or even taken very seriously at all. Actually, just block out this half of the
I
recording.
intend to speak with absolute certainty, as I always do.
Absolutely, as your listeners would expect, and so on average, we will have just the right amount of certainty in our claims. That's the Mr. and Ms. podcast promise. I guess is that what is that do we is that the right adaptation for me taking Claude's seat on this one?
I didn't give even a little bit of a thought for what to call it,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why
I think that was evident.
yeah, that's why I didn't have a name ready when we started.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where this is going. We're gonna talk about Yellow Jackets, and who knows if anything else will ever happen. I mean, honestly, there aren't that many shows like this, and so I mean, I don't expect it to be repeated over and over again.
So we hope you've watched the show. If
Oh, please do have watched the show. Yeah.
we're gonna ruin it.
If you haven't watched the show, just shut this off right now unless you're one of those like weirdos who likes to hear. I know some of you out there who like to hear spoilers about stuff you've never seen. If you're one of those, okay, hang in there. You're going to get some hot goss, as the kids say.
Yeah, we're gonna
Um,
spill some tea.
we're gonna spill some tea. Yeah, spilling tea. I don't know why that's a
Mhm.
euphemism, but it is.
Well, gossip is a great theme because of its connection to teenage girls. Did I
Hey,
successfully segue us back to the main
hey,
content of the show?
we're back. We're back. So, I mean, this is really just this is like a side thing, but before we get into like the nitty and the gritty, as it were,
Gritty,
um, I just
gritty as a cartilaginous ear chomping between your molars.
spoiler alert. We'll get there. I just want to I was just like perusing around for stuff to use for prep because I don't do my own prep. I outsource my prep to the internet.
That's a kind of
um
prep.
yeah, you could say that. And I saw that on Showtime's website they have a description of the episode, and I just want to read it because like I watched it, and sure, did I digest every detail? I've only seen it once, to be fair, so if I mess up on details or forget things, do forgive me. treat this more like a instant reaction, like we did a few of those where it's just like, oh, like we're in that mode. So not in the like deep, we got every detail nailed down, hang in there, we'll get there eventually, I'm sure. Anyway, the point is, I was reading this and like I got this flashback to when I used to read the plot summaries from the Lost Blu-ray set, because like it would be like weird, like such a strange description, like knowing the episodes really well and then reading how they summarize. It's like, what are you even talking, like why don't I know what you're talking about? I know this thing, right?
I've watched this episode 27
Yeah.
times.
And why am I like, what does this even mean? Okay, so here it goes. You ready? Friends, Romans, Countrymen. Hilarious title. 2 months into winter, the survivors cope with falling rations, low morale, and their latest disastrous attempt to freeze a teammate out of the game. I guess they're
What?
talking about Jackie there. That's like a euphemism for like like making her leave the
Wow.
house and freeze to death. I guess that's what they're talking about.
Oh. Oh. I love a pun, but not that one.
Yeah, latest disastrous. Yeah, I mean that must be what that means. But it's such a weird way to put it. Like,
Well,
who?
it's also, yeah, it's also strange because those three things don't all happen in the same window of time.
Yeah, yeah, it's two
Like
months
he's been
later.
dead for
Oh, it does say 2
2 months.
months into winter. That's their latest. It's their latest. It was 2 months ago, but it's their latest,
Sure.
right?
Okay.
Okay, all right. I'm okay so
But
far.
no mention. It's weird to mention that and not mention the fact that they're still searching for Javi.
That this person doesn't give a shit about Javi. No
I
offense.
yeah, yeah.
Javi doesn't even rate here. I mean, to be fair, a lot of people don't rate here, as you'll soon see. Uh, Shauna, ready for this? Shauna explores the secondary market for Yellowjackets memorabilia. Do you remember when that happened? Do you remember when that
What?
happened? Do you remember? Do you remember? Remember that part where she's like, "Hey, look, I got memorabilia. Let's look into the secondary market." Because I don't.
What?
I know, right? That was the sentence when I read it. And I was like, okay,
I
uh,
feel like Chat GBT didn't watch the right episode before writing this.
yeah. Is it possible that's a spoiler for the? Because it's literally under the first episode. Like this is
I
where
mean,
it
it can't
is.
possibly be that important. I mean, who gives a shit if she's like shopping around to sell her jerseys?
I know, right?
Like,
What a terrible
weird.
idea. Let alone
Weird.
like it's like, did they cut a scene? Like,
Listeners, let us know if we just missed
yeah,
that.
let us know. Do let us know. Write in. Use your
PO box.
use your post office, your local USPS post office, and send
Assuming
us
you're in the United
a
States.
certified letter. Are you not
Yeah.
in the United States? It's okay. You can send a
They have international mail now.
airmail
Par avion.
par avion, indeed, as they like to say in La France. Okay, so anyway, I'm just gonna finish this because
Yeah,
it's
please do.
that is the worst part, but it's not the only part that makes no sense to me. Okay, Shauna explores the secondary market for Yellowjackets memorabilia, while Thaisa, Misty, and Natalie all seek out best friends, both old and new.
Shit. I bet though that if she does, if there is a scene either in this episode or in a future episode where she goes onto eBay looking for Yellow Jackets memorabilia, she's gonna kick herself for having eaten that ear. Can you imagine what she would have fetched for a real
That's a good
genuine
point, actually.
ear? I mean, maybe she's got other ears.
Yeah,
Actually, maybe she's got a whole maybe
necklace,
in her safe. Yeah.
memorabilia,
Yeah.
memorabilia.
I wonder what Jeff thought years ago when he cracked into the safe with the world's weakest combination and found not only diaries outlining every bad shit thing these girls
Oh my
did,
god, you
but
ate
also
Jackie's ear?
is full of ears. Hang on, listen. I looked at every one of those ears. I counted them. I compared them. There's one missing, and I just feel strongly that it's
I'm
Jackie's.
sure that I know.
I'm
And there's
sure
also
I
this
know.
part in
It's
your
because I
diary
read
where you
about it
talk
in your
about chomping on
diary.
Jackie's
Chomp,
ears. So
chomp.
I'm just saying the pieces fit here.
I think it might be the last part of a body that one should eat in terms of like
I
sustenance.
agree. I wonder why they made it an ear, except for the episode title, which I feel like was the other way around. I feel
I
like they
hope
had
so.
the ear eating, and then they went for the
Yeah.
title.
We are getting way ahead of
But
ourselves.
otherwise, like a finger, like what else could break off that she could have in her pocket and then take a chomp on, Because it can't be like an arm, it can't be anything too
Maybe they
cumbersome.
consulted. Maybe they, consulted with like, what are those people like who work with cadavers? Undertakers or whatever.
Oh
They're
yeah,
like, what's the most
coroner.
like, yeah, what's the most likely thing to snap off in a body that has been frozen
Yeah,
upright for 2 months?
yeah,
It's really weird. Put a blanket on her or something.
yeah,
It's I don't know.
yeah. It's
I
yeah,
don't know.
it's
Well, it'll be a lot better. Well, now that they've ripped the seal, they can go for like the thigh meat. I feel like that's the better, juicier. If you're gonna make like a stew, what are you looking at me like that?
no. I mean, it's fair. I just didn't really expect that. No, hey,
Fair enough.
good points all. I just want to linger on this for a second because I find this second part, although it's not as shocking, I also find it baffling. So, like, I think you could actually argue that Shauna seeks out best friends old, right? That's Jackie, right? It would make sense, right? That she's sitting in the shed with Jackie's corpse, imagining she's talking to Jackie for a large portion of the episode. But yet this sentence doesn't include Shauna in this part. It says Thaisa, Misty, and Natalie all seek out best friends, both old and new. So who the fuck are they talking? Okay, so for Thaisa, they're talking about Steve the dog.
Steve the dog.
Steve the dog is a new best friend. Is that the idea? Okay,
Well,
I'm gonna let that go.
yeah.
Misty, what best friend is Misty seeking out? Natalie's supposed to be her best friend. Is that really what they're telling
Well,
us?
she claims that Natalie. She multiple times claims that Natalie is her best friend.
Yeah, okay, okay. She might believe that. I'll
Yeah.
let that slide.
Yeah.
Who's Natalie's friend she's seeking out? Lottie?
Yeah, I
She's tied to a bed, right?
yeah, she
How
didn't
is
seek
she
out
seeking
Lottie. She
out?
was kidnapped
Yeah,
by
and since
Lottie.
when is Lottie her best friend, old or new?
Yeah, we haven't seen that.
No, like
No,
why are they
we're not
describing
gonna
it
see
that way? It
that.
makes no
No,
sense to me.
no, this is pretty weak.
This is okay.
Weak sauce.
Okay. And then here's how they choose to end it. For those of you keeping the stat book, you know that phrase. For those of you keeping the stat book,
Is that something that people who have brackets do?
I don't know what that means. What,
You don't even know what a bracket is, so you don't. Of course, you don't know what a stat book
no,
is.
what is the bracket?
We're recording this in March. The season of in this country, March
Oh, you're talking about
Madness.
the sports thing,
The sport
the
bracket,
sporting,
a
the
sports
sporting
bracket. Yes,
activity.
this is what I'm referencing.
Ah,
It's a sports
okay,
bracket.
like a bracket of like teams playing each
Correct.
other and stuff.
Yes. If
Okay.
you don't know what I'm talking about, you can Google it, but then you will be bored.
Yeah, so for those of you keeping the stat book, like those of you following the madness of March, um, uh, that's how they open the sentence. Lottie Matthews
Okay, I
comes.
just want to say also now this conversation makes me want to have like a fantasy football bracket situation with the girls. I keep wanting to say on the island, even though it's not an island. Um, Cannibalism wise,
In the woods,
in the
as
woods.
it were,
Yeah, woods
cannibalism wise.
woods bracket.
Who's gonna eat who?
I mean, yeah, I guess that's what I mean.
Because I feel like basically everyone who's alive, when whoever gets eaten, is gonna eat the one who's being eaten. So I feel like everyone's gonna eat the ones who get eaten for the
Mhm.
most part. That'd be my prediction.
That's why you're really going out on a limb there.
Well, I like to play it safe. I mean, anyone who's
Absolutely.
listened to any of these things knows, like,
Mhm.
that's what I do.
Sure,
That's what I
yeah,
do because I
yeah.
want to be right. I don't
So
care if I'm interesting. I just want to be right.
that's what everybody wants. Um, so is there more here? Is there more?
I was just want to finish the
Yeah,
sentence.
please do.
For those of you keeping the stat book, Lottie Matthews comes in off the bench.
Mm.
End of summary.
Wow. Okay, so I'm gonna say I guess it's a reference to the fact that this is a sports team, right?
Yeah.
That's why they're
Just
using
like
the
they did at
sports
the
thing.
beginning with like,
Um,
oh, leaving
freezing,
Jackie out
yeah.
was freezing her
Yeah.
out of the
Yeah.
game.
Well, I hope you all have enjoyed this podcast within a podcast wherein we review a summary of an episode.
I'm sorry, I just thought
Um,
that was so ridiculous. I
it's
wanted to
pretty
bring it
funny.
up.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I want to say for the record, because you all don't know me, my primary interest in Yellow
Yeah,
Jackets
you
is,
do.
well, not
They know
necessarily.
you. I mean, they
It's
don't know you like they know us,
what
but
if
they
somebody
know.
do know me though? Like
You didn't
in
you know people
IRL.
who listened in the old days?
Well, it was the other way around. Some people I knew tuned in because of
Oh,
of
okay,
this. I
okay.
didn't just like randomly discover. It wasn't
Well,
like somebody was like, "Holy shit, I
that's.
recognize that voice."
I mean, that counts.
Okay, fair enough. Uh, I just want to state for the record that my primary interest in the show is not the cannibalism. I've been talking a lot about the cannibalism. We will talk more about the cannibalism, but my primary I would love this show even without the cannibalism. I love a survival show. I love mystery. I love female centered cast. I love the back and forth in time, and obviously, as a child, somebody born in the '80s, I love the soundtrack. So, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I don't. Um, I'm not like a big fan of cannibalism per se.
you just haven't had it served right.
Hey, boonch. Uh,
It's gonna be really insensitive to listeners who've had like family members who were killed by cannibalism.
sorry. I
Yeah, I just knocked the wind right out of
that's
you.
I mean that's yeah, that's a
We'll put a content
consequence.
warning.
Yeah, no, I'll put it I'll edit it in later.
Just
No,
bleep
I
it.
just but I think that I agree I agree with the general point that like what makes the show good is not the cannibalism. Like there's a lot that's good about it that is totally independent of the cannibalism. Nonetheless, I do feel that the extremity of the cannibalism and the thing they went through, like, gives it a certain quality that if all they did was just hunt and stuff, like, it wouldn't be the same kind of show.
Right, it raises the stakes.
It not just it doesn't just raise the stakes.
It's the taboo.
It's yeah it means they crossed a serious line out
Yeah,
there, and now they're trying to move on with their lives, and it wasn't just like, oh, it was so desperate and we were like hungry and stuff. It was like they got into some deep shit while they were out there,
yeah,
and and it wasn't even just cannibalism. Actually, it was also all of this ritual stuff,
right, right,
costumes and
right.
all these ceremonies, and believing in like whatever,
That stuff I am quite fascinated
like yeah, and that's not just about the cannibalism, but anyway, I
with.
like I think it is like an important part of the show. And I just want to say, because I've been listening to a few podcasts, I do that time to time. There's people out there, I mean, they were saying it, after season one, like they hadn't seen season two, but like there's people out there who are like, oh, you know what? I bet they didn't even do any cannibalism.
Oh boy.
I bet there wasn't any cannibalism.
People love a like just because then if then that one in a million case they turn out to be right,
Yeah,
they're the one who said that just
yeah,
totally improbable thing.
exactly, exactly. Which is
Like
the opposite of me, right? I want to play it safe and say the
right,
thing that seems like a sure thing,
right,
so that
right,
I'm more likely to be right. And if they surprise us, then I'll probably be caught off guard because I'm expecting like the more obvious thing usually.
right. So
Yeah.
I do want to ask though, was your use of the word extremity when saying the extremity of cannibalism a reference to the ear? Because if so, I think you could write episode descriptions for Showtime.
It didn't mean to be, but I think it is now. Yeah, I'm gonna
Accidental
officially declare it then.
reference.
I just want to say that I think cannibalism happened out there.
I'm gonna
I'm
go
gonna
on the
go out on a limb
record. Yeah.
here.
Yeah, do it.
Those of you who think that didn't happen, like, okay, like, I don't know. I think we're pushing into territory where I think it's gonna be unambiguous at a certain point.
Eating a dead ass ear that's been frozen for 2 months, though, I'm like, that does not count. I know we argued about this the other day. That doesn't count as cannibalism for me. It's just too, it's like foraging.
I mean, I think
That's like when you eat like your cuticle.
I think there's an argument that
Only your
it
cuticles are
isn't
dead. That's my guess.
morally as bad as killing someone and eating their entire body. Um, but I mean, just literally consuming human flesh. I mean, I think it counts as
Sure.
cannibalism in that sense.
Sure, sure. We all have dictionary word
Diction-
definitions
Word
in
definitions on net. That's right. Okay.
Right.
So let's just, let's just like get into it, all right? So, I don't even know where to start, but, where do you want to start? You want to talk about the old stuff? You want to talk about the new stuff? What do you want to do?
I, wow. Dude, let's just talk about how does it start? First scene. Opening scene.
Well, I don't know that, so don't. I gave you.
Okay. I
I
think you're
gave you.
literally looking at an episode
Now you're
description.
pulling a Claude. I give him two options. He picks a third thing that I can't
Um,
do, and it's like, well,
um,
shit. All right, I
all
guess
right.
we're
Well,
stuck now.
I think let's talk about
We open on like, yeah, no, I don't. I'm sorry. They tell the story out of order, and
yeah.
the
Let,
recap I have sort of puts it in
fine.
time order.
Let's talk about the scene where we see them coming out of, I guess, an airport
Oh, so you want
hangar.
to start in the middle? Okay,
I
interesting.
mean,
Interesting choice. Interesting choice.
I feel like you didn't really give me you didn't support me to make a good decision here because you're the one holding the episode description.
Oh, no, no, no. I mean, I don't mind doing it. I just
I just
I didn't
think, well,
expect
all
you to
right,
want to start
let's
there.
mention that and then let's just do the thing that you were gonna do because obviously that was gonna be a
No,
better
no,
thing.
no, no, no. It's all
So
good. It's all good. We can
because
start here.
we
It's
this
it's an
is
interesting little. It's very isolated. It's very short. So
it's a big deal. We,
yeah,
we already had mostly assumed from last episode or last season, although I was the one with the crackpot theory that maybe Lottie wasn't actually still alive, that she
right.
didn't necessarily have to be from that just brief snippet of a voicemail from the end of the season one finale. Where
Yeah,
that banker sponsor who Nat is blackmailing into helping her because
yeah.
she's just a real great
Treasure.
person. Yeah, a really morally upstanding citizen. Asks who is Lottie Matthews in
Yeah.
relation to the person who emptied the bank account.
It is phrased ambiguously. I think narratively it's clear what it means, but if you just read the words, it doesn't have to mean that Lottie's still alive and
Yeah, so the
she's the one
ambiguity
who took the
is
money from the bank.
definitely gone now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is clear now, that part, definitely.
And we don't, of course, we don't see them all because they're gonna trickle that out bit by bit. You might develop some guesses if you look at the cast, or don't. Be pleasantly surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I just thought it was cool to see them in relation to this like mapping thing that Nat is doing where they go
Mm-hmm.
out looking for Javi.
Oh man.
That has me thinking, okay, oh yeah, you're shaking your head because you're thinking about that blast door map, aren't you?
No, I'm thinking about earlier, like the Rousseau maps and
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
Like I remember getting so invested in maps on Lost. I know the Blast Door map also counts as a map because it's literally called a map. But so it counts too. But just that whole idea of like, oh, we're gonna map. I'm inherently skeptical of how much that can matter. I like the idea that they're trying to do that, but it's so hard for me. I'm burned. I'm burned when it comes to maps.
Yeah.
Once
So
burned, twice shy, right? That's what
that's
they
what they say.
say.
That's the saying. Well, I'm not somebody who's going to freeze frame and try to
Yeah.
like align
Figure
it
out
with.
stuff.
I
Yeah.
mean, this is a teenager making map
I remember they
making
had
is
the
hard.
plane on there. I saw like they
Yeah.
had a little spot where the plane was.
Yeah. Well, so but the fact that she's doing this mapping and they've got this whole uh push to go out further looking for Javi uh presented for me a theory about how they end up getting rescued, that they actually
Oh,
like might push out far enough to find a little town or something.
sure, sure, sure.
As opposed to just being accidentally found because they're just sitting there.
Yeah, yeah,
Um
yeah.
but this is where we see Lottie, and we see them, walking past. journalists, and it's that typical, they use it for like a perp walk or whatever. So the game is, just don't look at the journalists, don't say anything. They're shouting questions at you, and no one says anything. But then Lottie gets to the top of the stairs, and there's this pregnant moment. She turns around and screams.
Into the credits. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
I mean, it's a good question. It's a good question. I mean, my understanding of that character is very low. I'm actually about to talk about a whole Lottie thing here in a second. And I don't my first stab at a guess about that is just that, you know, she found some kind of inner peace or something out there in a wilderness, and like coming back was like, like broke that. And she felt like she was going back to a world that was like crappy, and like, she couldn't like live in the way she wanted, and like that's my best guess.
Yeah. It feels a little bit like what they tried to do with Misty. Although
Yeah.
Misty lost her way because she drugged them all sort of accidentally, but yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Misty's thing is sort of similar, but it seems to me, I mean, we didn't see her immediately after they get back. I mean, they did show her there, but like very briefly.
Yeah.
Like we see Lottie's sort of aftermath of the rescue, whereas we don't see the other characters' aftermath. So
Right.
I don't really know, what to think about how each of them reacted. But based on her present day, she seems to have adjusted as well as any Misty ever can.
Yeah,
you
their
know
takeaways were very different. And of course, we're gonna see that Lottie's parents also sent her for this electroshock therapy,
Yeah.
um, and this institutionalization. So there's other stuff, and maybe as this season or future seasons go on, we might see more about the adjustment, back into society. But so your thought is this is a scream of like leaving a place where she was elementally connected
Yeah.
and had found this, fulfillment, destiny,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
which kind of fits with the fact that she's gone back into the woods in a area that looks very
Yeah.
similar,
No.
but as a like a spiritual leader, kind
Yeah.
of self-help
Trying to reclaim
guru.
that thing. That's what it seems
Hmm.
like. But I we're on the topic now, so I'm just gonna have to bring it up.
Yeah.
Okay. So we see, like you said, we see that they say in voiceover that she doesn't speak when they come back. So that's kind of weird. And then they like strap her down and do electroshock therapy, I guess. We see her having some visions of the candles and stuff, that stuff from season one. And they also introduce a new idea in this episode that I don't think ever appeared last season, which is the touch, the Lottie touch. She does this thing where she like touches you like on your chest, and it's like calming or something. It's a little vague, a little Jacob to be honest, but like this is an idea. Like they show a patient there, um, with her who's like freaking out, and she goes up. So I actually have to read this because this transition like stunned me when I watched it just now. She says, she goes up, does the touch, she goes, they can make you better the same way that they helped me. Right? She says that. And then they cut to adult Lottie, by the lake, giving a speech to this, attentive crowd, like a self-help guru kind of situation. And the first thing she says is, "The truth is, nobody can help you."
Yeah.
That's the transition that they do there. They can make you better the same way they helped me. Cut.
Yeah.
The truth is, nobody can help you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it goes to your bigger point that we don't yet the viewer doesn't yet know much about the evolution of the Lottie character. We've seen her in season 1 go, through, when she's a child and she seems to predict that car accident.
Right,
and
right,
with the
right.
screaming, and then her
Yeah.
parents put her on this medication, and then we see what happens um as she's weaned off of the medication, and the visions, and some of them seem to be prophetic.
Yep.
um Certainly I believe that through the power of suggestion, something like, some a highly empathetic person could just put their hand on a person and calm
Oh, I
the,
agree. I
I don't think that
agree.
there's anything
You don't
supernatural to
see any
that.
glowing
Right.
lasers, or you don't see any kind of like, there's a code for doing that where it's clearly supernatural,
Hmm.
and they don't do that.
And so on the island, in the woods, they see her, or they show her doing this, like pretty rudimentary, like talisman kind of thing to Nat and
Travis.
Travis, thank you, before they're going out looking for Javi.
Yeah.
Um, and so she's already sort of, and she's given bone thing
Mm-hmm.
to
Yep. Yeah.
Van earlier in season one. So she's already like finding this connection and this spiritual role. But at what point does she, uh after returning to civilization, at what point does she become this healer or start on this path to healing?
Mm-hmm.
So she's turned really inward. They send her off. The electroshock therapy, maybe she has some kind of vision that tells her that her purpose is to be this healer. And she genuinely believes that if other people undergo that same treatment that she did, that they will be elevated to this plane that she's on. And then, a few years later, when she set up this, either that, or they're telling us that she's just trying to profit off of this situation.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it
So,
makes me
yeah.
wonder, is it a genuine speech, or is it actually just she's saying bullshit to make money to fund her other activity? Like, I'm really not sure how to take,
Yeah.
like, this whole speech is so weird. Like, nobody can help you. I certainly can't. The only person who can give you what you're looking for is you, your truest, authentic self. That's why you're here, so I can introduce you.
But this is basically verbatim what therapists will tell you, that, only you can help yourself. You have to decide to change. I am going to try to create the conditions in which, those nudges for you to make those changes. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's anybody's going to say that.
I just think it's notable that she specifically says that,
Yeah.
because if it's they contrast it with her saying they can help you, they helped me, right?
Hmm.
Impersonal, some other out there,
Yeah.
right? And then literally transitioning to like that.
Sure.
That doesn't work. That
Sure.
can't happen. Only you can do it, right? And then this part that she ends with, like, also threw me. She says, the truth is, we are the ones making ourselves sick, and the rest of it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It isn't real.
Yeah.
That's her
So
last line.
that it isn't real thing, this idea that other stuff isn't real, all that's real is our like primal selves. I mean, that definitely sounds like the mentality that could lead you to just kill other people and eat them, and in these like sort of wild, I don't know, ceremonies.
But it just calls into question, like, wait, so did she change her mind, or did she never actually believe in the wood gods or whatever, because
Right.
she sure acts like she does in the flashbacks,
Well, we'll
and
find
she even says they in the flashback, they helped me, like it seems clear that she believes in some outside forces
right.
that were,
Right. We
you
need to
know
channel the woodland gods. Yeah, right. So either we're gonna see that she's just a charlatan, she's just making money off of harnessing whatever it is that she's doing. We'll see more. I mean, I think there's always this feeling when a season starts of like, I want to know all the answers. What about this? Why didn't you give me more on this? But yeah, we got to give that time. So that's something for us to be on the lookout for. Are we going to see her on a spiritual journey as we see the evolution of from eating some dead ear to, dressing up in
Yeah.
antlers and
Full on
uh,
ritual sacrifice,
yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah.
And we're also definitely not going to see them finding a backhoe that they use to dig that giant pit that they fill with spiky sticks and so that they can catch.
That is a deep
It is a
pit.
deep pit in frozen ground. Maybe they just found the pit,
Yeah, maybe Cabin Guy did it.
but they haven't found it yet.
Well, I mean, it would be a retcon, but yeah, we would have to believe they haven't found it yet. Or they'll tell us they found it like a month and a half ago or something,
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they could do something like that if they really want.
yeah. Well,
I don't know.
anyway,
Okay, so there's
all right.
one more thing I have
Yeah.
to say on that general topic. This is a smaller point, but just as a contrast or coming off of that, I just think it's a bit odd that uh Lottie has Natalie tied up, strapped down to a bed. I mean, I would think in the same episode where we get her strapped down to a bed and subjected to electroshock therapy, she might not be inclined to do that to someone. I don't know. It seems like a weird choice for someone like that, you
I think
know?
it's an aesthetic parallel.
I just but I don't know. Anyway, like
It's really different from other stories of people being subjected to electroshock therapy because in her case it seems like it actually did sort of set her free from something, whereas it's illegal in, right? I mean, uh, it's not a common recommended practice anymore.
sure, sure, sure. I just I don't know. I mean, okay, you think actually she feels like she was helped by it. I mean, it is ambiguous. I mean, I have the sense that she was just suffering through all that and it was, some maybe helping the other patient or other stuff that is off screen that we'll learn about later. I didn't think that we were supposed to believe it was helpful, but maybe we are.
Well, I mean, it certainly is not characterized as a pleasant experience, but then we see her appear better.
Yeah.
I mean, what does better
Yeah.
mean? But yeah. But let's put a pin in that topic.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point. Okay. So I mean that's my Lottie stuff. So let's go back. Um
We'll have more Lottie stuff later.
there's a bit more at the end when we sort of catch up to things. Okay, so we'll just go through. I mean, I don't have, a million things to say about all this stuff, but we'll just try to touch on things and make sure we don't miss any little bits. So, okay, so you already talked about this, Natalie and Travis are going out looking for Javi. Last scene, the doom coming, Shauna tells him to run, and then like you never see him again. It's been winter, it's been 2 months, right? Prospects don't look good. I mean, what was he like, 12? Like, I mean, how anyway, if he survived, which I think probably he did, it's gonna have to be some crazy ass explanation for how he survived.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to hear it. Anyway, yeah, Lottie does this little ceremony. Um, and and she's like, "Oh, you keep coming back alive." Like, it's like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, could just be a coincidence, right? Nothing's real, right? It's not real. Anyway, all right, I'll try to not harp on that. When did you change your mind? All right. She also draws a symbol on the window,
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
the whatever you
Yep.
call that, in the
Fog,
in the
steam.
fog, in the steam. Yeah, anyway. Okay. And then we have Sean out in the shed, hanging out with Jackie. I mean, this reminds me of we didn't really get a lot of this in this episode, but this just reminds me of how in season one, like a lot of the characters would have these hallucinations, and I was unclear whether they were just stylized um memories or
Hmm.
whether they were literally having hallucinations. The
Yeah.
way they play this in this episode, it feels like she literally had a hallucination
Yeah.
because she ends up tackling the body
Right.
that she was talking to.
Yeah, I think this one was a hallucination. Hunger, delirium, the pregnancy, all, the extreme cold, the grief, all these things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. The other thing I thought was weird about this was when like Jackie asked this question and then like Shauna tries to lie and she's like, "No, that's not true."
Right.
And I'm like, "This is your hallucination. You can't. What are you doing?" Like, it's
Yeah.
like they played it like it was really a ghost,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, no, I they did, but then that moment, because Shauna's like, I didn't know that. And she's like, "Yeah, you did." And it's because, like, yeah, because this is a figment of your
Right.
mind. So
That
if
yeah,
you
that's a
knew,
moment where it kind of breaks
yeah,
the illusion. So yeah, so then she shoves her over, which then causes one of her ears to break off, and then she slips it in her pocket. We may come back to that later. Um, I find that weird. I find that weird. Why did she put the ear in her pocket if she wasn't gonna eat it? If it wasn't a snack for later,
yeah,
what was the
I,
intention? Why
mm,
put an ear in your pocket?
yeah.
What's your top
So,
five theories for
top
putting
five
an ear in your
theories. Yeah,
pocket?
well, I don't have five, but I will say that it never occurred to me until the moment that it happened in the very closing final shot that she was going to eat that thing. I thought she put it in her pocket because she out as just a uh I can't, what else could you do with this ear? She tries to put it back on. That doesn't,
Yeah,
obviously doesn't work.
yeah,
She's not gonna just like
yeah,
leave it on the ground. It's like evidence of, it's like a further way that she has defiled or violated her friend.
yeah.
She violated her trust. She resulted, albeit indirectly, in her death, and now she's accidentally desecrated her body.
Right, right. Okay, okay, okay. Just because like thrown in the woods felt too harsh, and it's
Yeah.
like, what else are you gonna do with it?
Yeah, and it sort of covers up that it happened.
But I just think like, why are they keeping the body in the meat shed? It's already weird, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, wh-
Yeah, they were about to burn. You remember when they thought Van was dead, which she wasn't.
they were gonna
Within
burn
like,
her,
yeah,
right?
yeah, they didn't even wait 2 minutes. They were just gonna go ahead and
No,
burn
yeah,
her.
just like, hey, I'm alive
Yeah.
over here. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about that. Oops.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I guess it's just like, um, I don't know, maybe Shauna just can't. I mean, it's obviously that Shauna can't let go. I
yeah,
mean, that's the whole theme.
sure,
Um,
sure. And I guess it's like there aren't that many. You're not gonna put it in the outhouse. You don't want to put it in the main cabin.
you don't just put her out in the woods.
So there's no other place. Yeah, it's like animals will come. So
Or maybe they could use it as bait to get animals to come that they could kill and
you
eat.
know,
Or just skip the middleman.
well, I think that's where we're headed. But yeah. Okay. So right. So then we have Natalie Travis going out. Travis thinks he sees Javi. That's also a hallucination, I guess, but it's actually just a dead fox, which is a little strange, but okay. Um, and then yeah, they go back to the cabin. Coach Ben gets the map, like she's like making maps and he's like putting them together into a like map collage, I guess. And I guess they're trying to like map the territory. We'll see where that goes. Will it lead to rescue? I'm gonna register my doubts for now, but hey, it's not impossible. uh, okay, and then right, and then Travis has a panic attack. Lottie does her Lottie touch. And he has some visions for what that's worth. Um, that it's just you. Nothing else is real. It's
Is
just
that
you.
is that when he sees
I don't know how he saw any of that shit because he didn't know about it. But hey, anyway,
is that when he sees the stump?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he sees a stump.
Yeah.
Um, and then she says, "Your brother's alive. I know he is." So we get a little Lottie. I really want a better name for this prophecy. prediction. One of her thing, this is a thing she did do in season one. And as soon as she said this, I thought, okay, well, I think Kavi's alive at this point. I don't think. I mean, I bet there will come a point in the show where Lottie makes a prediction and it's wrong. I do think that'll happen eventually, and it could be this one, but I kind of don't think it will be this one. I
So
think they're gonna wait to make that happen until later. I think they're gonna wait to introduce doubt more so in the minds of the survivors there. Like, wait, is she full of shit or what? Like, did she just get lucky?
yeah, yeah,
She's just like saying stuff. In that future monologue, it's almost like it's acknowledging like I was just making shit up, and I got lucky. Like
yeah.
it almost seems like that's what it's saying. Like it just came from me. Like
Right. And so Nat confronts her and says, "Why are you giving him false hope?"
yeah.
And do you see there what she says in response?
Uh, she says. I mean, I can pull up the literal line if you want, but here it says that she said that she just said what she felt.
Yeah.
And yeah, and Nat wants her to say a lot less.
But they were best friends.
Yeah, best friends forever, BFFs.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's not the end of that little thread, but we're still in the flashback here. So we move over to Van and Thaisa. So so I guess Thaisa's like tethering herself to Van while she sleeps to prevent her going out in her the bad one form and like eating dirt slash wreaking whatever other havoc she might wreak because from that altar we know that it can get pretty serious
Yeah.
when the bad one has a lot of time on her hands.
But it worked. I mean, she won that election.
Well, she did win that
So,
election, but you know what? It's just in you. I mean,
God, you said you were gonna try not to harp on it, and yet.
all right, I'm sorry. That got me. That's
Mhm.
that's where the show feels like lost to me. It's like it's really throwing like the opposite of what it feels like it's making you expect,
Yeah.
like at you and then asking you to deal with it and like what? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I just find it
Well,
weird. But anyway, no, you're
yeah,
right.
I
It
mean,
did.
yeah, we will see what she believes and what she believes at a given moment versus, what did she,
Yeah.
you know, and
I can't
maybe
wait to
it's
find
like,
out.
yeah, I mean, she may not actually believe in, imparting her wisdom to the people who show up for this retreat. They just, she's given them some dime store thing that maybe will actually help them, but she's not gonna invite them into the magic because there's also this whole, if she let any person who bought admission into her retreat to see that ceremony stuff, I mean, that would be all over the tabloids.
Yeah. Yeah.
um I mean, if they know who she is, which
I wonder about that. I wonder
um
about that.
but so getting back to this scene,
It
this,
sort of reminds me of that thing from Nope, what's his name? Because like
yeah,
he was a child star and then
right,
like he founds this like weird rodeo
uh-huh,
carnival thing
yeah,
and he goes at it and it's like people are there to see him
right,
partially. I don't
right,
know. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. The, so this scene is another just hint about what exactly is Thaisa's arc with these night um fugue states,
Wanderings,
wanderings. Yeah,
perambulations.
there we go. That's it. How does that evolve? What does that lead her to do? How does it escalate as the general situation in the wilderness escalates? So
There were definitely
watch
some
this
implications
space.
about that in season one, and we get a little moment here where we see her wake up in the bad one form, and like she's got that like crazy look, right? And she starts kissing Van, and then she bites her lip, And
Mhm.
then Van wakes up, and then she's like, "Ooh, whoops, what happened? What's going on?" And and like they kind of move on. Van like uses the blood to write "I heart you." It's like, okay, weird. Fine, I guess. I don't know. Um, but I thought it was interesting in the sense that we've actually, I believe that's the first time we've ever seen her wake up as the bad one. Like, I think the only time they showed her in that form before, she was already out doing stuff, eating dirt or out by the tree or what. I don't think we've ever seen her actually wake up and be that,
Yeah.
So it's not a big development, but it was like a little more than we've ever had before. We see her like do something,
Mhm.
directly that is like not super violent, but at least like something beyond climbing trees and eating dirt and saying "Sammy, Sammy, Sammy, Sammy,"
Yikes.
which like apparently is something she was doing.
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
Yeah, I actually appreciate that they never showed it because I think imagining that
Yeah.
is scarier than if they actually showed her doing it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
That is a general statement about
most
shows
things.
like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
and most things.
It's true.
Suspense.
Okay, so then Nat and Travis go out again, and they find this recap is not clear, and I also wasn't clear. They find a tree where there's no snow at the base, and there's like moss or
Yeah.
plants or
Yeah.
something
There's
there.
moss and lichen growing on the outside of a tree
Lichen.
stump.
Lichen.
Lichen.
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
liking what you're bringing to the
Oh,
table here.
oh.
Because I would not have recognized the lichen.
Yeah, lichen. So and it looks like there's some snow melt around the
Snow melt.
base.
Snow
It looks to
melts.
me like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
And it looks so the stump in the vision earlier, I thought was the stump that Javi had been hiding in the previous season. Um,
Oh.
but uh, then when they showed this stump with the melt, I thought, okay, so I don't know if it's supposed to be the same because it feels like it's not in the same place.
No, no, I think they were pretty far
Um,
away. Yeah.
but I do think that one implication of this stump is warm. I mean, it's warm. So either it's
Yeah.
warmed because there's been heat on it, like body heat,
Yeah.
or it's like some magical thing. I mean, we've spoken before about, is there something
Dharma
supernatural?
Station.
Dharma State.
Just saying.
Yeah, it's just like an underground
You
bunker
remember Lottie's vision from the lake?
full
She sees this like
with the candles.
weird, yeah, there's this like whole underground
Yeah.
like area. I don't know, I'm just saying like
Yeah.
maybe that's related. I certainly don't know
We
that
saw
it
the vision
is.
again in this episode.
Yeah, we did. We
Hmm.
did. So I'm just throwing it out there that maybe there's some kind of structure there that's creating the heat.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have to explain why that the discovery of such a structure
Doesn't
doesn't
rescue
lead
them.
to them being
Yeah,
rescued.
I agree. I agree. That's a problem they're gonna have to solve if that's where they're going with that.
Yeah, I
Maybe it's
mean,
magic. Maybe
then
it's
it really
just
is just
something
gonna be Dharma
simpler.
Station,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. So yeah, it's a very open-ended kind of ending. It's not very conclusive. But that's kind of where we leave things. And then the
I
only
really wanted them to go around and look at it from the other side. They're like, huh, weird. Let's
Mhm.
keep going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I want to see, like just walk around it.
yeah,
Look down from above.
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, the writer will show you what they want to show
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
The only other thing from the flashback, aside from the mid '98 post rescue stuff, which we already talked about, is Shauna eating Jackie's ear. It's described here as like it's a 99-cent Whopper. I'm not sure
I don't
about that comparison,
I
but
don't think I've ever seen anybody eat a 99-cent Whopper where I was watching them staring at the Whopper for a long, intense moment. And I thought, oh man, what is going through this person's mind right now? Feelings of guilt, feelings of longing, wondering what went wrong, and then just chomp chomp.
Chomp chomp. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't expect it. In retrospect, I'm like, that should have been the obvious place that scene would end,
I don't
but
think it's obvious at all.
it
And
feels obvious to me
I think
now.
the writers did, yeah, but that's good writing. They did all these things along the way. I'm curious if any of the listeners thought that's where they were going just from the beginning. Oh, I bet she's going to eat that ear. I just think it doesn't make sense. Like, I just think they really did a convincing job of setting up the emotional, the cherishing, the
Hmm.
guilt, and it's connected with the fact that we know in the future Shauna is going to go on to throw away all of her own aspirations and instead do what Jackie wanted,
Right.
you know, which was referenced in the previous season with
Yeah, yeah.
that scene with Thaisa.
Right.
But we already know that she's married to Jeff, and that was not her plan. It seemed like she was just having some fun with Jeff,
Yeah.
and that's not she's pregnant currently with Jeff's baby, and then something's gonna happen with that baby because that's not
Yeah.
Callie. And so then she's
Definitely
gonna
not.
get off. She's gonna get out of the wilderness, and she's gonna go back to Jeff,
Yeah.
and she's gonna have Jeff's baby.
Yeah.
Like she has
Again.
another chance to not. Like she has the chance to take a different path, but
Yeah.
she can still take Shaki's path.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they're gonna have to portray that because that doesn't. It feels like there's something to fill in
For
there.
sure. I mean, it's a big theme of the show. They're definitely gonna
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
give us a lot more.
I think maybe, like what we got with Lottie in this episode, like more about her post crash, like
Yeah.
maybe we'll get that for some other characters. It's sort of like this season's version of the flashbacks from season one, where they would give it wasn't really a lot. They didn't like do a ton of stuff, but they would give a bit from each character, like as the episodes went on. So I feel like
Yeah.
that might be where we're headed with that, where they'll give a scene or two or three explaining
It's
how
almost like a flash forward,
it's
but it's
it's a little bit both. It's more of a
it's a
flash middle,
it's a flash middle. Well, it's a flash forward for the old version.
flash in between.
Flash in between. Um, yeah, I don't think that they're gonna do this for a few reasons, um, but I also think that they will do this for other few reasons. Use that sequence of them, walking through the the tunnel of journalists and then getting on the plane to show us another survivor and then show us what happened to that
Hmm.
survivor,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe at some point also survivors we already know about, but tell us like I don't think that they can go back to that scene every episode because I just don't think there are enough survivors for that. I don't know, we'll see.
Well, there are at least five that we know of. Could there be more?
Yeah, I mean, I think I feel pretty confident about one more survivor.
Could there be one more? Maybe.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
No. Okay. No. We
Let's
shan't
just say there are only 3 ginger actors.
we shan't speculate based on casting information. I
Fine,
would
there are hair dyes,
I would
there are
never do
wigs.
that. I would never do that. Okay. So that's the end of the old day stuff. So okay, so we'll talk about the present day stuff. So we got uh
Can we skip the Thaisa stuff because it is just too frustrating? What is she doing? What's she doing?
I want to talk about the
Ah,
Thaisa stuff. I
right,
mean, we don't have to
fine.
talk about it forever, but I do at least want to address it. I, you know.
Yeah,
Okay, so we start with Misty trolling the message
I
boards
love this.
for the murder detective, not murder detective, citizen detective Reddit, I guess, about basically about Adam's disappearance, and um someone on there says that and like got his credit card statement. I mean, this is you know,
By blackmailing
this
the
shit's not
imposter.
legal. Like I don't know. I don't know about how realistic this is, but anyway, and speculates that he had a girlfriend no one knows about, and she downvotes that, and so
Hilarious, great scene.
it's
She
pretty funny.
Christina Ricci is amazing. she,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I I almost feel like I haven't seen her in enough stuff, but I feel like she found a note for that character that was pretty dead on from the first time. That first scene with like what's her name in the home, like
yeah,
yeah, no, I it's yeah, she's a fun character, and also like I think she's an essential character because she's like a lot more directly like active and instigating than some of the other characters,
yeah,
who will just kind of sit around and wallow,
yeah,
you know. And she doesn't really do that. She's like, I'm doing stuff. I'm getting on this board. I'm gonna go investigate things,
yeah.
which I think is important, even though like the other characters don't really like her.
Right. Taissa just wants to move on.
Yeah,
Natalie was gonna kill herself, and now she's
yeah,
been kidnapped.
yeah, yeah,
Shauna doesn't want to be doing this stuff, so yeah, she helps to unearth some of the stuff that the viewer wants to know,
yeah. Yeah, like Shauna tells Misty she got rid of all the evidence, but she didn't.
and she
She's still got the
knows she
driver's
knows.
license. She's still got keys, right? And yeah, so then this is a thing that like I thought was a little weird. Like there's like a drawing of her, and she sees that a key has paint on it, and she realizes that Adam had an art studio. So they go there, and there's like a ton of paintings of Shauna there. Um, and the situation is a huge turn on apparently. So they get it on there, and then uh they realize there's too many paintings to take without attracting attention, so they just put turpentine on the faces. nicely nicely inconspicuous.
I mean,
um
that's his style now. That was his late stage work. He was gonna break through with that.
it's very high concept. I feel like I've seen a thing like this. Oh, was it the ring? Was it the ring? Was it the ring?
I don't know.
I think it was the ring where like where like the ones who it's been too long. Where like the ones who watch the video like the in pictures their faces are all like blurred out.
Oh,
I think
nice.
it was something like that.
Yeah,
Anyway,
there you
whatever.
go.
That's what it reminds me of. But yeah, it just I don't know. There was like to me it seemed like the place where he lived, where she murdered him in season one, was the place where he was doing his work. Like it comes off like an artist studio place where
I mean, it's like a studio loft. I don't know where he's
yeah,
getting all of his money to have the studio loft
yeah.
and
He works in
another
a
studio in Hoboken.
he works in a car mechanic shop.
Yeah, but also I guess he won the lottery at some point.
They said he
You
won
know,
the lottery.
no, I'm saying
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were serious.
no, I'm saying that's a high cost of
I'm
living.
joking. That's the only income I know that he
No, I know,
has.
but it's just yeah. I mean, it's just totally implausible. But what are
Maybe this is
we?
that memorabilia she's gonna sell on the secondary
Oh my
market.
god. Um, what are we to make of the fact that he made so many paintings of her? Is this just, oh yeah, well, he was an artist. She was his muse for this short and prolific period of time. He was really deeply in love with her. Or is this like, wow, okay, was there more that he wasn't telling her? There's that famous confrontation that ends in him getting stabbed, where she's like, "You found me because you knew I was a yellow jacket." And he says he's got the book because he Googled her and he figured out who she was and he was curious about her story, and that's why he got the book. But painting all these paintings of a yellow jacket, I just think that seems a little fishy. Potentially fishy.
I hear what you're saying. So yeah, I mean, there's two things. Like first, I do feel that he was portrayed in season one as being like, of course, like it also was played as suspicious, but he was portrayed as being pretty clingy,
Yeah.
pretty like You know, he's like texting her all the time. He
Yeah.
shows up at her house. Like, you know, it seemed to me like, you know, if it wasn't a front, then he was like really into her. In that context, it doesn't seem out of line that he would make a bunch of paintings if he's an artist, you know? And also, Jeff and Shauna don't seem to take it that way. They seem like, oh, this is evidence, we got to get rid of it. It doesn't seem like they think it means anything about him,
Yeah.
that it changes anything about what they thought. They
Yeah.
don't express anything like that. Third, I know I said two. Here's my third point. 3 out of 2. So my third out of 2 points is uh, I also just feel like this is just general TV rules. I feel like when you have a plot from previous season that has mostly concluded and we're kind of just in cleanup mode here, I just don't expect them to come reveal. Now, it's not impossible, all right? There's shows that have done this, so you can break this rule. But I just don't expect them to throw a surprise reveal about his motivations when they already had a confrontation scene about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was the time to reveal it. So I don't expect that, but I agree that like the door's open if they want to walk through it.
All right. I find your evidence convincing.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's so much easier.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so let's see. Right. So they burn the license and personal
Oh
effects and
man,
the
so
barbecue,
badly. So badly.
setting it. They set the barbecue under a tree, which is like, and then poured like a
Yeah.
shitload of lighter
Don't do
fluid
that,
on it.
kids. Don't do that. Also, you're supposed to wait a while after you pour lighter fluid on stuff.
Not on TV, you don't.
Well,
You go, you
yeah.
just, because
It's a very don't try this at home, kids.
waiting on TV is boring. They just want to
Hmm.
get to the thing.
And you think like, oh wow, he thinks to bring out some hot dogs to cook on the grill to make it not look suspicious. Maybe he's got his shit together. But they almost set a tree on fire and they fail to burn the most important piece of the evidence.
It's pretty funny. It comes off like they didn't even look, and then yeah, Callie comes later, opens the thing, and the thing that's intact is the picture of his face.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really funny. It's like the irrefutable part of what's in there.
Irrefutable.
Irrefutable. That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we'll see where that goes. Is she gonna like go to the cop? I don't know where that plot's going. We'll
Should
see.
we just use this information to blackmail her parents into letting her go into the city whenever?
Is it gonna be that again?
No,
We
it's
already
not.
did that.
No,
Okay.
it's not gonna
Okay.
be. It better not be. The stakes are much
Yeah,
higher.
come on. Like,
Yeah.
I want Ubers. Like, let's not. Let's not
Let's
do
not.
that. Let's not do that. But I do wonder, like, where I don't know. If that's going somewhere, we'll see where.
We will.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
So Ty goes to an animal shelter, and this says puts very little thought into adopting a dog
Yeah,
who happens to be named Steve.
I love Steve as a dog name.
It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, she just points.
Yeah, like, oh,
Oh, yeah,
look,
yeah,
it's a
give me that
dog.
one.
Give me
Yeah.
dog, please.
I feel bad for that very earnest, politically engaged young person who works at the
Oh,
dog shelter,
right. Yeah.
who's going to be really disillusioned by how what a bad choice Thaisa Turner is for state senate. I'm sorry, I don't know anything about her opponent. She, if I didn't know
Phil Bathurst?
Phil
Was it Bathurst?
Bathurst?
That sounds like a
Yeah,
fake name,
he's
but
a bat.
I think it was Bathurst.
He's a bat in a business.
Batwurst? No, I don't know. Anyway, maybe it was Bathurst. Anyway, okay. I don't really
Anyway.
care.
I'm sure that if not for the, I don't know, blood magic, I don't know. Thaisa would probably be the best elected official in the country, but the blood magic is a bit of
It's a deal
problem
breaker,
for me.
at least for me. Yeah,
I
it's
also
gonna be a
think
problem.
she should take a look in the mirror about her family relationships. And
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
yeah,
You know, thinking back now, I realize that at this point she doesn't even know that she killed Biscuit.
correct.
So she's just like, "Oh, I'll make it up to Sammy. I'll get him a new dog." like I guess that's her idea here, right? Because
Right.
she goes to pick up Sammy from school, like it's all good. Hey, look, I got you a new dog, right?
It's like a divorced dad move.
Yeah, it is totally like that. It is totally like that. But yeah, with the way they left things, it seems like she should have known that that was out of line, even without the shit in the basement. You know, so I'm just like, I don't know. It was a weird scene, and that yeah. So then Simone comes over and says like, "Stay away," and I found that thing in the basement, and you know, you need to step down and get help, or I'll never see you again, or whatever. Right?
Or I'll go to the press.
Oh, did she say that? It doesn't
Yeah,
even say that
she
here.
says
She
that.
says I'll go to the press. Okay. So that's hey, for a politician and especially for the bad one who's like real into politics apparently.
Someone needs to watch her back.
I I agree because yeah, you might have your head on an altar if you don't watch out
That's a
because it's scary.
you can
Okay.
be president with that magic.
So ooh. So cutting? So she goes home, she finds the crawl space and finds the altar with oh, this says it's Biscuit's heart. I guess it must have been. Who else's heart would it
Yeah,
have been?
really.
Sorry, I just in my head it was like the doll's heart or
Do you
something, which makes no sense. Yeah, I
Yikes.
know.
That's
I
terrifying.
agree. Well,
Do you
because
think
it was scary to
she
me.
ate the rest of the dog?
Good question, right? Where is the rest of the dog?
I'm making a face.
Where is the rest of
You
the
can't
dog?
hear it, but it's not a
Yeah,
pleasant
and they
face.
put the bear heart in the tree thing. Incidentally, the tree in Travis's vision I thought was the tree from the ceremony. That's like Lottie's ceremonial tree. I thought that was the tree he was seeing. I don't know that for sure, but
Maybe it is a
that
lot
was what I
easier.
thought. Because it was a stump, like cut, you know, like it looked like it could have been that. I don't know for sure if that's what it was, but I
Mm.
meant to say that earlier. So she sees the altar and then Steve comes and she says, "This was a mistake. I'm going to do better with you." Which is like such an understatement.
Steve, all right, look, I have a dog. Steve is gonna go right up, just running right up to that dead. Dogs love dead
Yeah,
bodies.
yeah, yeah.
Sniff, 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 lick,
Yeah.
lick.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't understand like, oh my god, it's a dead dog's head on an altar. I
Right.
should be scared of this
They're
woman.
like, oh my god, this stinks so bad. Let me get my nose in
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's what
they
dogs
want
do.
to get involved. Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
I'm sure it's quite rank at this point
Yeah,
because it's been a
indeed.
while.
And of course, there's no way that Thaisa actually should think. I mean, here's one of the reasons why I'm annoyed with Thaisa. Um, she sent Simone and the kid away. She insisted. Simone was like, "No, we'll get my," and she was like, "No, you have to leave or I will hurt you."
Yeah.
And then it's like she gets elected and it's like, oh no, everything's fine. No problem. Like, does she think that all of her issues were going to go away once she got elected?
Well, that's how it comes off, isn't it? And this line gets me too. This was a mistake. This was a mistake. That's what you call that? This was a mistake? No, this was not a mistake.
Typical politician.
Like what the fuck? That doesn't add up at all. And then I'm gonna do better. How are you gonna do better?
Right. That's
It happens when
she
you're
doesn't have
sleeping.
exactly that, and that is
And it
that's
wasn't a fucking you know it wasn't a mistake. Look at that altar. Does that look like a mistake? No, it was not. It was quite intentional. Obviously. Like
it's a pretty liberal use of the word
what a
mistake.
weird way to describe that. Like that's like whoops. Like no. Like you're doing it in a fugue state. You're not in control. You cannot say this is a mistake and I'll do better next time.
But I
Like
do
she's an alcoholic or something. You know, like that's not what this is like.
but
Like
I do think that this is like a this is a signature politician thing. I did something of my own volition and then I got caught. And so now I'm characterizing it as a mistake.
right, right. Okay, okay, fair enough, fair enough. But it's like it's because of the specifics of the circumstances actually like it's right in the sense that she literally Thaisa, the normal one, didn't intend to do that,
Right, right.
right? But Thaisa, the bad one, did, but also she wasn't in control. So it's just weird to call it. I
Yeah.
it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up, and I just think that's like that after Lottie's like, it isn't real. No one can help you. It's all you. Those two were the most baffling moments of the episode to me, where I was like, what? Like, really? That's what? I don't know. To me, it's just weird, especially after, like you said, like, oh my God, you got to get away. I might do something. And she's just like, oh, it was
Well,
a mistake.
I think the
Oh.
most obvious interpretation of both of those things is that the person who says it doesn't really mean it.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. I guess we'll have to see where the Thai thing goes. I mean, I don't know.
I don't think Ty believes it on a deep level. I do think that she's deluded herself. That oh well, I was under duress and that
Mhm.
was a horrible thing, but it won't happen again.
It won't happen
Like I
again.
think that in
Okay.
this moment she does think that.
Okay. Okay. She thinks, but does she really think she has the power to shut it off? Like, I just feel like she should know that that's not.
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay.
I don't know. What's next?
Okay. So we got Misty questioning the motel guy about Natalie, and he's like reticent, and eventually she gets out of him that Nat left in the middle of the night and paid cash. I can only assume that they under duress. Like, I don't even understand how that could have happened from what we saw, where she was grabbed out of the room, or someone else came and paid for
Maybe
her.
she
I
just
don't
left the
know.
cash in the room.
I'm just left the cash in the room. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. I can buy that. So then she breaks into the room where Natalie was staying, and then notices that the door was forced open. And also there's a security camera outside. So maybe we'll see some security footage in the future where she'll see like she was kidnapped, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like we should be heading for like tracking
Yeah.
her down,
Otherwise, why show that?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. Okay, then we have Natalie chained on a bed, and this woman comes in with food on a tray, and she's got one of those symbol necklaces that we saw last season. So she's, all up in the cult clearly. Um and Natalie convinces her to undo one of her handcuffs so she can eat. And when she returns, Nat stabs her with the fork and escapes. So yeah, that short period of captivity there. And then Natalie, is running away outside, and she sees people chanting around a fire. um Eventually, they chase her, and she eludes them long enough to um run through some forest, and she comes to a group of people wearing robes and animal masks, and they disrobe a man, and he gets in a ditch, and everyone shovels dirt on top of him. So make of
Yeah.
that what you will. Is he killing himself willingly? Are they killing him? Is it just symbolic, and they weren't really going to bury him alive, and it's just a weird ritual, and it's all about how it's inside you, and that there's nothing is
Mm-hmm.
real but what's inside you, and who knows? Who
Uh-huh.
knows?
Yeah.
Because the animal masks are quite a contrast from what we see of the people listening to her earlier, who are just like
Right.
normal-ish, hippie-ish looking people. Like, they're not dressed in like outlandish
Yeah, no, they're just like new agey.
ritual stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is more like what we see in that opening scene from season one. But they don't literally do violence on screen, so it's really hard to know where the line is there,
Yeah.
because of course, uh 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 Lottie shows up, of course. And so then Nat grabs a piece of wood and goes to beat her with a piece of wood, I guess. Her best friend, right?
Best friends.
Best friends, but BFF. But then Lottie just says, I have a message for you from Travis.
I don't
And
need to kidnap you to deliver it.
that's where we end. I know, right? You could have just fucking told me.
Yeah.
Write me a note, huh? What's up? What's
Yeah,
up?
so I love it. I love it. I want to know more. I want to see the next scene, which is obviously what they want. I, just to go back to the what was happening. This is where my Garmin Bosia comment from earlier comes in. Is that at first when I saw that shot, I thought, oh man, they're going to bury this guy alive as part of this ritual. He's willingly sacrificing himself to the god of the woods or whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is. and it called to mind the season one notable scene where they are hunting um, Travis and almost appear to almost kill him.
Yeah. I mean, it was real close.
However,
Lottie wanted her to do it too,
yeah,
Shauna to do it, and
yeah,
like, and now she's like, anyway, whatever.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. Just however, and so if there is this idea of drawing power from killing people, from killing men, in the woods in some ceremonial way. I don't know. But as you point out, we don't see anything violent. And it could have just been some, they're going to bury him most of the way in
Hmm.
dirt as part of some ritual to become one
Symbolic
with the
thing.
earth
Yeah,
for a while.
yeah,
And like that'd be a pretty intense experience to be, you know
yeah.
even
Definitely.
with your head up.
Like, yeah, like a
What's
trust burial
what is that movie where they like bury somebody in
on the
sand on the
beach. You
beach?
talking about
No,
Creep Show?
creep show.
Yeah, we saw
No.
that. It's with Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Anyway.
he buries the guy like just up to the neck
Yeah.
on the beach, and the waves are coming
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's the horror
Burying
version.
alive is a definite fear. I mean, I guess everybody has that fear. It would be a
Yeah,
horrible
I
way
don't
to
know
go.
if everybody does, but let's
Horrible.
just say I do.
Yeah. That that
I would not. I would not enjoy that.
yeah.
That would be something I would pass on.
Yeah, horrible.
What I have to say about that is that well, it made me think two things. It made me think three things. No, I don't know. It made me think things.
Well, we'll see.
So there was this thing from season one where they find this note that Travis wrote down, Misty and Natalie when they're there, that says, "Tell Nat she was right." And there's a few lines later where she's like, I don't know what I was right about, but I know that he didn't kill himself, and right? And that's kind of how they pivot away from it. But you know, will we just never find out, or is this connected, or is it not connected, and this is just a completely separate thing, or is a lie? Anyway, it just made me wonder if it was connected since it's a message from Travis, and it seems like it could be connected.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that's going to drive you bonkers because, even when we find out what the message is, you're going to be like, but is that really a
Yeah,
message from
yeah,
Travis?
this
Or
is
did she
a
only
preview for
think?
next week.
Yeah,
Right now,
yeah.
as soon as we find out what it is, it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that. You're right. Um, but yeah, I just it raises the issue for me. This guy, seemingly voluntarily doing this thing. It raises the issue, and the flashback scene where Lottie does the touch to Travis and it calms him.
Yeah,
It alleviates his panic attack situation. It makes me think that he actually does like sort of buy into Lottie's stuff, and like maybe he actually did kill himself voluntarily, in accordance with some ritual thing that they were doing. And
yeah,
maybe he just willingly gave her his money from the bank account and gave her a message, for Nat, and he just wrote himself a reminder what the message was. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, this was a possibility that I did not consider in the first season, but now actually seems like it could be true. That that he believed enough in her stuff that he actually was willing to and that because there's nothing in this episode that suggests that they should have murdered Travis. Like, it's totally unclear, why they would do that. And I'm expecting in the next episode, you killed Travis. No, I didn't. I'm expecting something like
yeah,
that. We'll see.
yeah. I'm definitely expecting that. I think, the bank account timeline is a bit of a problem, but I guess they could tell us, like, oh, well, yeah, but it takes a little while for a transaction to go through. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. They can tell us whatever they want.
Yeah.
There's, we know from season one that Natalie and Travis had an on and off relationship after as adults.
Yeah. They alluded to
Um,
that. Yeah.
and I think we could quite possibly find out that one of the points of contention between the two of them had to do with Lottie.
That's set up in the
Um,
flashbacks as well.
yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I can't wait to see the follow up to the scene.
I'll be there. Will you?
Yeah, I mean, not much else to say. I'm
Okay.
just intrigued. I want more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's no way to know what
Yeah,
it's going to be, right? We're just going to have to find out. But I think it raises a lot of interesting questions that are not just what's the message.
yeah.
So,
The message, I guess one thought that just occurred to me is that the message could relate to the pact that Natalie referenced,
oh, right.
um, to not
That they would
kill
never kill
themselves.
themselves. Yeah, right, right, right. Yeah. And I
Like
was trying to make that
some
work.
explanation of why he had to do it,
Right,
even though it meant breaking this promise to
right.
her.
Yep, yep. That, hey, you know what? That sounds good to me.
Yeah,
But I don't know. It really could
it's
be
got the
a
feeling of
lot
a
of
theory.
things. But yeah, it feels, hey, thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, so I mean, I think we're at the end here. I just want to quickly ramble through a few things. The postcards didn't come up.
Didn't come up.
I'm still waiting for clarity on who sent postcards and why. Why didn't Shauna get a postcard, et cetera, et cetera? Postcard, postcard, postcard. I just have to say it because that was a cool mystery from season one. Wish you were here. I mean, to me, there was something interesting and creepy about it, and I just feel like you can't just leave it there. Have Jeff say he sent the postcards, or have Lottie say she sent the postcards, or have a third party say they sent the postcards. Just let's come on.
Yeah,
Bring me my postcard answers. Okay.
yeah.
Um Jessica Roberts never comes up. Tori from Battlestar
It's true.
Galactica, if you prefer. You know, Misty kills her and Thaisa hired her. And does she even know that she's dead at this point? I don't even know. Anyway, that's they showed it in the previously on.
Yeah,
So I thought it might come up, but it didn't.
yeah.
Um, okay, and then what else did I want to say? A couple more things. Oh yeah, I was so these are some questions I had going into season two. Only Misty has been 100% confirmed as a cannibal. Will we get confirmation of other characters? I think we did technically, even though it was very small confirmation.
I'm raising my eyebrows dubiously.
Okay, yeah, we never yeah, will Adam be mentioned at all? Yes, he will apparently. How did Coach Ben die? Yeah. So,
Van Dyne. You're so sure.
I mean, I seriously doubt he survived. I feel like we really like of all the characters there, I don't know.
Well, you know they're all sitting around wishing that they had kept that crushed leg and turned it into jerky.
You're so right. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
just vomiting in
Oh
my
my
own
god,
mouth
they
on
should
the
have done that. They
podcast.
should have done that.
It was so bad. I looked at it when we did the rewatch. I looked more closely when they lift up the piece of the plane that's crushed
Oh
his
yeah,
leg.
yeah, yeah.
It's so horrible. Whoever made that costume melted flesh thing. It's just like, oh my god, it's so gross.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the show gets pretty gross at times, you know.
Yeah.
It's funny because like sometimes it's like a light romp black comedy, and sometimes it's like really like gross out horror. Like
Yeah.
they really run a lot of different modes, which is one of the things I like about the show.
Yeah.
Like they don't just stick to that one thing, you know. Like
Yeah.
on Walking Dead, it was like gross zombie shit every week, you
Yeah.
know, and like after a while, I don't care. But like this show, like gives you the grossness in different contexts. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I really don't want the cannibalism on this show to ever get to be like,
Routine.
yeah, like the zombies on The Walking Dead, where it's just like, okay, I get it.
I agree. I agree.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't think that's gonna
Um,
happen either because I think they're really slow playing it, and I think that once they cross that line, I think it's gonna be about other stuff.
yeah,
I think they've already established that there was other stuff going on, and you know, I think that's the pivot that's going to happen. The cannibalism will be sort of a background element,
yeah,
which seems kind of ridiculous, but that's how they survived, right? So at a certain point, it does have to be somewhat routine, but I can only assume that that just won't be the focal point of the drama once it becomes routine. I mean, we'll have to see.
We will
But
see.
yeah, that's all I got.
All
So I
right.
think we can, wrap it up there if you like.
Namaste.
Send us your emails and your comments and your suggestions and your Twitters
And your
and
favorite ear recipe.
and your favorite. Yeah, what would you like to do with an ear? How would you prepare an ear? Would you saute? Would you boil it like a British person?
Boil it.
Would you like a British person? I mean, hey, some people love to boil everything, right? Like British people. Anyway, um,
Yeah, or you could put it in a nice decadent lardy pie.
ooh, lardy pie.
Yeah,
Nice,
or
nice. I'd like a Cornish pasty
ooh, with ear.
with ear in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a single ear. I bet it would fit like nicely, in that little pocket.
Oh,
Yeah, isn't it
little
adorable?
ear pocket. That is cute. All right, now I'm hungry. Let's go make some ear.
All right. Yup, chomp chomp.
Chomp chomp.
All right. Well, um, I don't know. What's our sign off? Uh, um, go,
Go home.
go home.